This code for Music Racer on the PS4 was supplied free of charge, so take that with what it's worth. So growing up, a genre of game that I haven't seen too much of anymore, especially on consoles, are your Beat Mania game. Your music-based games that kind of just let you enjoy music and go out to the beat. And Music Racer does exactly that, where you're going up and down these tracks, collecting beats to songs, and just having a solid time. Now, Music Racer itself has been out on Steam, iOS, and Android for a little bit of time, and is officially coming to the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One January 29th. So how does it stack up, and how well does this game play on the console? Well, playing on the PS4, it was a solid experience. It's very simplistic in its concept, and it knows what it is, and it does that fairly well. Basically, you pick out a track from a handful of them that they offer, and you go up, down, and stay in the center lanes and bounce around collecting beats. Now, through this time, you're going to dodge spires or rods, things in the ground that are going to hamper you and break up your combos. The thing I really enjoy about this is the fact that if you happen to hit one of these, it's not like a big menacing sound or anything. Your music kind of dims out for a moment, but it instantly kicks back up into place. So you're not actually taken out of the experience so much that it ruins the songs, and that is really, really positive to see. Now, the tracks themselves all play off of 80s, this neon colors, and just look really solid. Fair warning, though, if you're prone to headaches from games, be very careful on this one. There's a seizure warning at the beginning of the game, and it definitely it's one of those games that you're going to have to be careful with. Now, the car itself can be customized, and as you play your levels, you're going to get points. Those points can be used to cash in for additional race tracks and for additional cars themselves. You can change your colors free of charge, it seems, and then change the brightness of the neon. But they have everything from standard cars to muscle cars to a DeLorean, basically, light cycles, a Raven. It goes all over the place. And while it really doesn't necessarily affect how the game's played, it's cool that you can change these things up. It's kind of fun. Now, one big thing that I loved about this starting up, there is no obtrusive sounds going through your menus or selecting things or car sounds or anything like that. Now, you can go into your settings and turn on menu sounds and things like that, and that's okay. But honestly, I think it's better because you're, again, showcasing the music. Now, the big question here is, a game like this, how is the music? Well, a lot of the tracks, they're pretty solid. Most of them are songs I've heard before, either through royalty-free music or just other tracks, and they are changed up a little bit to add a little different beats or kind of a remix of a song. And several of them I haven't heard before, which is kind of nice. However, I feel like the first half of the songs was a lot better than the second half. Not saying the second half was bad, but the first half was a lot of technos and trance and had some good lyrics to them and nice solid sounds. The second half tend to be a lot more synth and 80s kind of pop to them. And I'm not that I'm against those, they're just not always my cup of tea. And that's kind of a disappointment. I wish the tracks were a little more jumbled up, that maybe you gave me an 80s track and then a techno beat and then kind of mix it up from there. But for the most part, if you like this kind of music, this isn't much different than probably what you've already heard, or again, you might have already heard some of these tracks before. Now, the game itself does offer a couple different modes. You have your standard mode, you have Zen mode, you have a hardcore mode, and a cinematic mode. And the Zen mode is basically the exact same game, just removes the spires or your roadblocks, whatever you want to call them. The camera mode, the cinematic mode, offers you can rotate your camera around. It just plays the music and your car drives. It doesn't collect beats or anything, just plays it out. And then your hard mode is basically, it looks like an increase in beats. I played a couple rounds, increased in beats, but as soon as you hit a spire, you're dead. The game stops. It's a game over screen. So I appreciate the challenge that this has. And while we've touched a bit on the gameplay features, one of the biggest concerns I had for the game was some of the neon colors on some of the tracks, you couldn't see a thing. things were so brightly lit that the beat markers were hidden, and it's just almost impossible to play some levels with certain songs. And I don't understand why, I guess. I wish there was a way to tone that down a bit so I could see what's going on sometimes. I just got lost in it, and not in a good way. I'm flailing around because I'm trying to guess where they're going to be, and there's just so many bright colors going on. Eventually, I just got frustrated, and I went back to some of the older levels that were more, I'm going to use the word easier to play. They were more intuitive to me because I could see what's going on, I could feel what's going on, and the neon colors were a little more subtle for the most part. I believe this game is releasing at a $7 price point on the consoles, and I don't think that's a bad price, especially I put in about 2.5, 3 hours to play through all the songs, and it was enjoyable. It's one of these games I don't see me spending a lot more time in. It's a title that I played through, and I go, yeah, that was all right, and I kind of can go away from it now. And the tracks were solid. Again, even if they are relatively reused from other assets or purchased, whatever the case may be. Again, that's not a bad thing. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do that. But for the most part, it was solid music, a solid gameplay, and with a few hiccups here with the neon colors. And from time to time, it was a little frustrating, just to put it frankly. While playing the game, I never ran into any crashes or frame rate drops that I noticed of or issues while playing the game itself. And I can appreciate just a solid made game. Even if it's in that lower budget area, that's where sometimes those issues can pop up. So I'm happy to say I didn't experience anything like that while I was playing it. So to wrap up, Music Racer, I think it's an alright game at a solid price with some good tracks mixed in with some okay ones and a simplistic concept that you could probably get a couple hours of play out of it and be done with it. But I think it's a game that you should maybe at least look at if you're interested in those. So that wraps up the first impressions for Music Racer. And if you'd like to see some content on it, click the link to your left. That'll take you to a running playlist of some of the tracks that I recorded from it and some gameplay footage. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, click the link to your right. That'll take you to the channel itself where we have tons of videos going on over there. And until next time, you guys, stay frosty.